Welcome back, college football fans. We are 16 days away from the start of the season. It's been a grueling offseason, let me tell you. I can't wait to get into the season. We might have a repeat Heisman for the first time since Archie Griffin. It'll only be the second time in history. Plus, the Pac-12 is dead, officially. And we got the AFC North for you. We're going to predict the standings. We're going to predict the winner of it. Let's roll into it.
We're not the starters. We're not even the backups. This is the Third Stringers Podcast.
Man, it feels good to be back, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
It's almost here. We are a little over 2 weeks away. 2 more weekends without college football. That's okay. We can get there. It might be a rough ride for that first week because there's never a good game on the first week. It's really unfortunate, but it is what it is. But yeah, let's talk about the Pac-12 first because it's been the biggest storyline for the past week. Officially, the Big Ten added Oregon and Washington along with USC and UCLA. And out of nowhere, the Big 12 not only adds Colorado, but they also add Arizona, Utah, and Arizona State. So the Pac-12 turned into the Pac-4 quickly.
Yes, they did.
With Washington State, Oregon State, Cal, and Stanford the only teams remaining. And it looks like 2 more are on the move with Cal and Stanford. Looking at ACC possibilities. But yeah, it happened very quickly, it felt like. And I don't know if it was the TV deals or what, or the lack thereof on the Pac-12's part, but it just moved a lot faster than I thought it was going to.
Yeah, it has to be the TV deals, right? That's the only reason there's conversations, there's discussions, negotiations. I know for the Big Ten, when USC joined the Big Ten, there was talks of, trying to recruit them to join that. Oh, well, you'll be one of the only teams out west in our league, so you should join us. And they were very unhappy, I guess, from reports that Oregon and Washington joined the Big Ten. They were going to use that as a selling point for recruits in the future, saying, hey, if you want to be a part of the Big Ten, we got the bigger deals. We can get the NIL deals. It's like, this is the place to be. That doesn't matter anymore, and I have a feeling it's not going to matter even more when some conferences kind of shake up in the future. So that's going to be very interesting to see.
Yeah, for sure. It was inevitable. Once USC, UCLA left, Colorado was that next domino. And then I think everything just started falling apart for the Pac-12. I think they shot themselves in the foot when they didn't come out and make a statement about a TV deal. And I think a lot of the networks actually saw the exodus of USC and UCLA and said, well, if they're out, that was their biggest market.
Yep.
Was the LA area. Next up was Oregon, and with the scare of the Big Ten, possibly taking them away from the Pac-12. Nobody wanted to make a deal.
Yeah.
Nobody wanted to commit to a long-term deal.
I know there's talks with Apple, and I've been seeing more reports come out that it was a 2 to 3 year deal, and it was streaming rights exclusive, and they needed to benchmark a certain amount of subscribers in order to get more money. And Arizona, Utah, Arizona State, they all were like, no, we're not dealing with that. So they jumped ship to the Big 12. But I am excited for them to join the Big 12 just because of the Holy War, Utah and BYU matchup again. I was kind of young when, back in 2010 is the last time they were in the same conference together. So I wasn't too into it, but now, I'm excited to see what that's like.
Oh, what a matchup. Is
Yes.
that going to be a protected game? Or is it just going to be,
We'll
or
see.
is it going to be something? You got to love it. I think that there's good and bad things coming out of this, right? You're going to have more competitive games, specifically in the Big 12 and the Big 10, even in the SEC with Texas and Oklahoma joining at the beginning of next year. But college football, there's going to be more competitive games. There's going to be more competitive seasons per se. For example, Michigan this year. Well, nobody's saying they have a hard schedule, and they don't.
Yeah.
But they have two large games on their schedule. It's Penn State and Ohio State. I mean, you can count Maryland, but again, it's not up to the standard of Penn State, Ohio State. Now, with the addition of Oregon, USC, UCLA, and Washington, that gives them another competitor and another competitive game that they'll have to, plan for. That's a good thing for us, right? On a week-to-week basis, we don't have to go in watching Michigan play Rutgers.
Yes.
And killing them in the first quarter. Another good thing is, bigger TV deals with a lot of streaming platforms taking over like TV shows, movies, things like that. That's why these, TV deals are becoming bigger for sports because, you don't want to stream a game possibly a day after because you're going to hear what the result is. So it needs to be on live TV. So it's going to be a bigger TV deal for these schools, more NIL money, and then more relevancy and visibility for all these players. I don't know about you, but I watched one Oregon game last year, and Bo Nix was a top 6 Heisman favorite, which I did not know.
I had no idea either. I did not watch a single Oregon game last year.
But now with that, you're going to get more Midwest teams out in the West. They'll get more visibility out there. We'll see more of the Pac-12 teams over in the Big Ten. We'll see a lot more of them just in the moment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So now on the flip side of that, some of the things that are going to hurt, right? Our favorite teams are going to struggle maybe, right? And then another big thing that the NCAA president, which he actually has no effect in the conference realignment, who becomes members, anything like that. I figured he might have some sway, some vote, but he has no relation to any of this, what's going on. But he made the point of concern for the student athletes, right? You're going to have a game, let's say Michigan playing USC. They fly out there, play their game, get on a plane, fly back, wake up for class the next day. Like, that's going to be rough for these athletes. And if they're doing this on a consistent basis, it's concerning to see what's going to happen to these athletes. Is it going to be more injuries later in the season, burnout? Are players not going to want to do these things? And no one's really taking into account any of this. They're just looking at the money signs, right? So that's a big concern, and I feel like that might be a very legitimate concern, that students are going to get the crap kicked out of them. Not only are they playing football, very physically abusive game, you're going to have to wake up and go to Calc 2 the next morning, and you're going to be dead. So that's tough.
Yeah, it felt like a very football move, right? Like, football, yes, it's still grueling, but when you look at it, there's one game a week. Yeah. You have time to fly back, right? For basketball, you're playing in the middle of the week, and you're coming back overnight on a red eye, waking up for class the next day.
Yes.
It was definitely a football move, and I understand it, again, money signs. But, yeah, there has to be more concern for the players' just well-being overall, and additionally their mental health. It's going to be a struggle. They're going to have to use, virtual classes a lot more. And I think the universities are kind of ready for that anyway.
True.
I think a lot more classes are going to start becoming hybrid classes, the ones that can be, I guess. Obviously, you can't do a lab virtually, but it's going to become more of a virtual world for these players.
Yeah, that's tough. But hey, I mean, if they're getting paid millions now because of NIL deals, I guess you got to roll with it. That's fine.
Yeah, I think there's one more concern too. It's how we value all these games now, where, with a 12 team playoff coming, I think 2025 or 6.
Yeah, something like that.
These games don't become as important. They can players can sit out a game if they need to. Right now, it's a top 4, and you really can't lose a game.
Yeah. But
if you have a 12-team playoff, even these bigger conferences, you have a little wiggle room. That Michigan-Ohio State game at the end of the year doesn't become as valuable as it once was. It still will be, because it's still a rivalry game. It just won't be as valuable, as important. because
Yeah,
those two teams are probably going to make the playoff anyway.
that's true. And another, I guess, aspect to that, the level of D1 competition is kind of being split into two different divisions, right? You got the top tier teams, and then you have, like you said, Rise Rutgers in the Big Ten. Like, you know what I mean? And it's like, you kind of have to play with the cards you're dealt. I get that, but these are universities, and it's hard to manage that. So that's going to be a whole another complex situation that these conferences are going to have to decide. Like, I guess they're all getting a certain amount of money from the deals, but obviously they're not at the same level. So something's got to give, something's got to change in some aspect. And I don't know what that is yet. And I think the answer is going to come within the next couple of years after we see some of these conferences. You have the worst two teams and then everyone else. It's like, what are we doing?
Well, let's talk about that now.
Okay.
So how does this affect future realignment?
I said this in a previous episode. I forgot which one. I don't know if it was with Paige or with you. I think it was with you. They need to change a lot. I think I think these conferences are going to be brutal. I don't think it's going to work the next few years. Obviously, the money's going to be nice, but it's going to be a shit show. Honestly, it's going to be terrible. I think the athletes are going to hate it. I think the separation of good teams versus bad teams is going to be ridiculous, and it's going to be like, oh, that like you said, we're going to value games less. Michigan against Rutgers means nothing, right? They'll bench their starters. Who cares? Like, doesn't mean anything. It's a rest week for them. So, all that being said, things are going to split. Money is going to go all over the place, and I think it's going to implode in a couple of years.
I could see it. You talked about just having one big conference. There's no specific conferences. You still have your protected games where you still play Michigan, Ohio State every year. Texas plays Oklahoma every year. I honestly see it more now than I did a couple weeks ago.
That's what I'm saying, man. It's like you get your rivalries, and then just someone drafts up the logistics, and here's who you're playing, here, and that's it. And then you just kind of go with it.
Especially for money in the terms of, the dollars, right? They're kind of doing it right now anyway, whereas Ohio State and Michigan are getting more money from the Big Ten than, like for example, Rutgers.
Yes.
It's not the same money. It's not the same dollar value. So I can see it being one giant conference. Everybody's independent.
And I've been thinking about it since that episode. Another aspect to it is it can kind of be like soccer is in Europe, where you have relegation, delegation, right? You have a certain amount. Oh, hello, Chance. You have a certain amount in the top tier of teams, right? And if Rutgers has a really bad season, they get delegated to the lower division or conference, or however you want to divvy it up. I think that could be a good, motivator, good gauge of where talent is, and it makes for better competition. So I think that could be a good system that they use.
I can see it. It's not something I've already doubted you once, and I'm not going to do it again because I see it now. It's going to be interesting the next couple of years for sure. I think the 12-team playoff is going to make a huge difference. We'll see what the future holds when we look at that. Let's get into something more positive, right?
All right.
Let's get into the Heisman picks. So Caleb Williams won last year. He's the favorite to do it again. The question isn't, can he? It's, will he be the only person besides Archie Griffin to win back-to-back? Is he going to do it? Who's your pick for the Heisman?
I mean, he's definitely up there. I don't know. I mean, for some reason, it feels like he can't, right? And maybe that'll make him stronger, right? And prove himself. Because I know in the past, if you won the Heisman, you have all this pressure. You have to live up to it. Anything other than another Heisman is kind of a failure. But after the last, couple of players who had the potential of doing that, Bryce Young was close to, or everyone thought he was close to, but obviously he didn't. After those past few guys that have been able to get to that level, the pressure's kind of off. Everyone kind of expects that you're not going to win Heisman anymore, right? So maybe that gives him the driving factor of playing his ass off and doing a great job. I don't think he's going to repeat. My pick is probably going to be LSU quarterback, Jaden Daniels. Let me say that clear. plays at a high level. The team's a good team as long as they get back to where they were last year. But more importantly, they need to win the conference. I think he has a very strong, and if he plays well, obviously, he has a very strong shot at winning it. So yeah, that's my pick.
I like the LSU team, right? I think they have a great team overall. Brian Kelly did a great job his first year. Nobody expected him to go out and compete in the SEC championship game.
Exactly.
He had a phenomenal year. They will have a phenomenal year again. I have a hot take. I have Quinn Ewers winning Heisman favorite for Texas.
Okay.
Not only that, I have Texas going undefeated in the regular season. They will beat Bama
that is a
week
hot
2.
take.
They will beat Bama week 2. Bama is favored by 7. Bama doesn't know who their quarterback is right now. It's not going to be a blowout. It's going to be a good game. Texas played well enough to win the game last year. Quinn Ewers got hurt. You can decide if it was a dirty play on your own time. I think it was. But Steve Sarkisian has done a phenomenal job at Texas. This is the last year they're going to be a part of the Big 12. Steve Sarkisian wants to prove a point going into the SEC. And it's going to be beating Bama, having the Heisman winner, and making the playoff because Quinn Ewers is the Heisman.
So that is a little bit of a hot take that they'll go undefeated. I think they are a good team, and if they do that, he's got all the betting chips walking into the casino, right? He's just gonna flop it down and be like, "Hey, I'm here." So that'll be exciting if that happens, and I'm kind of rooting for that now, even though I don't think it will. But yeah, the quarterback, what's his name? Quentin.
Quinn Ewers.
Yes. He's a good quarterback. Yeah, he played decent last year for a little bit. I think Arch Manning kind of throws a little bit of a wrench in there. Just he might take away some of the shine, but that's the only really concern. I mean, as long as he stays healthy, other than that, Arch Manning's his biggest concern. So we'll see how that turns out.
You're right. So I don't know if they officially announced it. I don't think they have yet. No. Quinn Ewers is going to be the quarterback going.
Yeah.
It'll be if he can live up to the hype, right? Mm-hmm. Because I don't think Texas will wait around too long. I think you're right. They play Rice first week. That's not going to be a gauge whatsoever. It's going to be that Bama game. And I guarantee you they're preparing for it now. And so is Bama.
Yeah.
And it might be game of the year.
Whoa. I can see it. Yeah, it'll be a very exciting game. And if he doesn't perform well, do you think they give Arch Manning the shot next game?
Maybe. I could see it.
Even though it's against Alabama?
It depends, right? It depends how he plays. Yeah. If he goes out there and throws 3 interceptions, Arch Manning might come out there. But if he throws one, has a strip sack where his line's not putting up a fight against Bama's defensive line, I see them rolling with Quinn Ewers because Quinn Ewers, regardless, I think is going to the NFL draft this year. Obviously, unless he completely tanks, but Arch Manning will have his shot next year.
True. That's very true. And honestly, he probably needs to just play a year without being the star, learn, get comfortable, and then he can take over the reins next year. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, the SEC.
Exactly.
It's going to be a thrilling year. The Michigan-Ohio State game will be thrilling. The Texas-Oklahoma game might not be this year, but we'll see.
But the Texas and Alabama game. That's the game of the year.
Texas-Alabama game. LSU-Alabama will be a good game.
True.
We got a lot of them coming up.
Yes, I agree.
It's going to be a fun year. All right, let's get into the NFL division picks.
All righty.
This week, we have the AFC North. We got the Browns, the Bengals, the Ravens, and my favorite team, the Steelers.
All righty.
Near and dear to my heart.
Before we start, are we assuming that Joe Burrow comes back healthy from his calf injury before we start talking about anything?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
So what I did is with our sponsoring, not we're sponsored, but we're sponsoring
We
FanDuel.
sponsor them.
We sponsor FanDuel. I took the win total odds for each team.
All right.
I will say them before we get into each topic. And we're going to go over under. You can
Perfect.
put your regular season record at the end if you'd like, but this is going to be a little easier than what we did last
All
time.
right. That sounds good to me.
So let's start with the Bengals then.
All right.
I'm assuming that they're saying that Burrow's going to come back healthy
Yes.
because their win total is at 11.5. So I will ask you over under.
All right. If he comes back healthy, I think they go over, but just slightly. I think it's 12 or 13
Really?
wins. Yeah, 12 or 13.
Really? Okay. I have them at 14-3.
Okay, wow.
I'm very high on the Bengals this year. I think last year, with Burrow's appendectomy,
Yep.
it was a struggle coming out of the gate. I think he needed to, kind of get into it. It could happen again with this calf injury. It really could. I just think it'll be a little easier because he's already gotten some practice in prior to him, pulling his calf.
True.
He's had another year under his belt developing with Jamar Chase, T. Higgins. They have a better offensive line, we hope. Really have to. Man, he gets hit a lot.
Yes, he does.
And I see progress for the Bengals. I have them at 14-3.
All right, that's fair. I'm not mad at that. So I'm assuming that's top of the AFC North for you then.
Yes, it is. Yes,
Same
it
as,
is.
Same as me.
Let's move on to the Browns. The Browns are at 9.5 wins.
I'm going to say they're not. Okay, here's my take on them. The Browns are not a winning organization, and I don't think Deshaun Watson puts them over the edge. So I'm going to say under.
Okay.
He needs to improve this season. I don't know if he will. I think he'll be decent enough, but they're just not a winning team. So yeah, I'll say under.
Okay. I had them slightly over, and reason being is because of their schedule. Because they were last in their division last year, they had the benefit of having the easiest schedule in the division. They're playing the worst team in every other division in the AFC, which gives them a huge advantage.
That does.
And you got Texans, you got Broncos, you got Jets, which actually that's gonna be a harder game. That's gonna be a harder game this year. But yeah, it's just because of the schedule. I'm gonna say over 10-7.
Interesting. See, I'm thinking 7-10.
Ooh,
Yeah.
ooh. Those close games, they never win those close games. So
Exactly. They're a losing organization. Sorry, Browns fans.
Oh, yikes. All right, let's move on to the Ravens. We got 10.5.
I'm going to say over because Lamar's back. They got Odell. I don't think Odell's going to be like an X factor, but, he's experienced. He's a good wide receiver. He'll help them out. I think they'll go over slightly. I don't think they'll be above the Bengals. So, yeah.
I have them going under. Reason being, I don't think Odell is that X factor, like you said.
That's fair.
He's definitely the best wide receiver they've had in a long time.
Yes.
I just see their defense is a little worse than it was last year. I'm not on the Lamar hype train. I'm really not. And
I mean, it's not hype when he's been an
under.
MVP and he's,
I see that.
one of the best dual threat quarterbacks of all time. I'm just saying.
We'll see. We'll see.
He needs to come back and come back swinging for sure.
He's got the wide receiver group to do it now. So
Kinda.
let's see. Yeah, you're right. It's
not top tier. Yeah, it's not top tier, but it's improved. So he'll need to make strides.
We'll see. I think they go 8-9.
What was the over under? What'd you say it was?
10.5.
Yeah, man, that'd be tough for them to win 11. But I'm saying 11 because I said over.
The AFC North might be the best besides the AFC East.
Yeah, it's a solid division. I agree.
The AFC is just a gauntlet. It really is. Yeah. Chiefs, Chargers, Dolphins.
Yeah, it's a tough. Yeah, we'll see what happens though. It'll be interesting. It'll be a lot of close games, hopefully.
All right, Steelers. I felt a little disrespected here. Okay, I really did.
Why?
Because they're set at 8.5, which is literally 500, which is what Mike Tomlin has set it at. I understand. Okay, I get it. That's the reason why they did it. but I think their team got so much better this year.
I don't know
It's
about
gonna
so much,
be
but they've improved.
it's gonna be the quarterback.
Yeah.
It's gonna be if he can make plays because they have the wide receiver group. George Pickens is awesome. I love him. He's the next one that's gonna be up there. NFL young boy.
Oh my God. NFL young boy.
Najee's going to come back a lot better this year.
I agree.
Their offensive line is way better. And I think their defense is still top notch.
Yeah.
I would say top 5 in the NFL.
Probably, yeah. I give them that. Definitely top 10.
So I have them at 10-7.
I have them over as well, but 9 and 8.
9-8.
Yeah.
You know, it has to be over 500. That's
Exactly.
what Mike Tomlin said.
It has to be. Yeah. Kenny Pickett needs to improve. That's the biggest thing. If he improves even a little bit, they'll be fine.
Yep. He needs to prove he's not a system quarterback and he can make plays.
Yep, 100%.
With a new offensive coordinator, it would be ideal. It's the same guy we got last year. It's okay. I understand.
Give him time.
It's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay.
So yeah, my standings are Bengals, Ravens, Steelers, Browns. Same with you?
My standings are no. My standings are Bengals, Browns, and Steelers tied. It would come down to a tiebreaker, and then the Ravens.
You're crazy.
No,
okay.
No. Here we are. This is the year. This is the year the Ravens have a losing season.
But worse than the Browns? You're telling me they're a worse team than the Browns? I guess the schedule's the difference. Yeah.
The schedule is going to be the difference.
Man.
The Browns don't have to play the Lions.
The Lions. That's fair. Yes, the Lions are gonna give them a fight. I'm okay with that.
It's gonna be the Lions' year. They're gonna beat the Ravens. Even though I think we initially said that they were gonna lose, but I'm riding a hype train right now. You know, I'm riding it into
they're
that
beating
Chiefs
the Chiefs.
game.
Yep, they're beating the Chiefs, beating the Ravens. Let's go.
I'm telling you, Lions fans, if you're out there, okay, and you're watching, if the Lions beat the Chiefs week 1,
we're winning.
We're winning the Super Bowl, okay?
We're winning the Super Bowl. I'm not on that train. I think if they beat the Chiefs, I'm going to be very excited and hope they do. I can't imagine they win the Super Bowl.
Don't let them live it down, okay? Don't let the Chiefs fans live it down that the Lions beat them week 1.
Oh, my God. I'm okay with that.
Oh. See, isn't this fun?
Yes, it is. I'm excited for football season. I started watching that quarterback show on Netflix. I started it this week, and I'm going to watch an episode once a week until we get there. Or I guess it's a couple weeks away, but, you know. It's not too far.
See, I think I need to start it next week, you know, Monday.
The first episode got me hype. I'm not going to lie.
See, I feel like I'm going to watch it too fast, though.
Yeah, you got to control yourself. I woke up the next morning. I'm like, oh, my God, is it fall? Is it football season yet? It's not.
It's when that first Starbucks pumpkin spice latte comes out.
Which should be soon.
It's soon.
Oh, my God. That's not the way we're measuring this. Okay.
All right, let's move on to final thoughts.
All right.
You want to go first?
Sure. I saw this on a TikTok or somewhere on YouTube. I don't know where. I wish I could give them credit, but I forgot, and I don't remember how to find their video. Anyway, the person said that Tim Grover was talking to media and for those who don't know, Tim Grover was Michael Jordan's and Kobe's personal trainer. And he pointed this out to a media member the other day that LeBron is not the GOAT because of this reason. There have only been 4 players to ever accomplish these these 7 things. Only 4 players in NBA history to accomplish these 7 things in an NBA season. Right? And that is win the regular season with best record, won the regular season MVP, was the scoring leader of the regular season, was on the All-NBA first team, led the playoffs in scoring, won an NBA championship, and won the NBA Finals MVP. Basically a perfect season, right? Only 4 players, and those 4 players are Michael Jordan, Michael Jordan, Michael Jordan, and Michael Jordan. And when he said that, I was like, oh, damn, okay. That's a great argument. Having literally one of the best seasons anyone could imagine 4 times, and you're the only player that's ever done that, that's tough.
Okay. So list them out again, okay? Because I think the playoff stuff, I think LeBron's got it.
So he's being on the team that won the regular season, right?
Okay. That's a big one because there's been multiple times where LeBron's team wasn't the top.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's one of the big ones. Okay.
Yeah. Won regular season MVP.
Okay.
Was the scoring leader of the regular season.
Okay.
Was on the All-NBA defensive first team.
Okay.
Led the playoffs in scoring. Won an NBA championship. And won the NBA Finals MVP. All in the same season.
Did Jordan win 4 MVPs?
I'm assuming
Or did he win 5?
I don't know. You're saying just regular MVPs or finals?
Yeah, no, just regular MVPs.
Let me look.
Because I'm pretty sure he won every single finals MVP.
He won normal regular season MVP 5 times.
Okay. I was gonna say if he did that, the 4 seasons that he was the MVP, that's truly amazing.
Yeah. No, it's insane. It's insane that that's even a statistic that no one else has touched.
Yeah, that's the scoring leader really hurts LeBron too.
Yep.
So does the defensive.
Yeah.
Defensive first team.
Which I don't know if you can be on the defensive first team and like all NBA first team too. I don't know if you can be on both lists at the same time. So that might be a reason as well, right? If Michael Jordan's the best defensive guard, he's not going to be on just the normal lineup, but LeBron could have been on the normal lineup. So I don't know.
Right. That's really interesting.
Yeah, that's crazy. And when I heard that, I'm like,
the ending. Yeah, the ending was. I love that.
Yeah. He may be the GOAT. Yeah, that's fair. He's definitely had the greatest seasons of all time. 4 times out of however many seasons he played.
Oh man, that's yeah.
It's crazy.
Gotta love Michael Jordan.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah, it is. Thought. All right, my final thoughts definitely not as hyped because the Women's World Cup. U.S. U.S. didn't do very well. It is what it is. It's okay. It's okay. Lowest final placement for the Women's World Cup USA team. I don't know what they ended up being.
Yeah, I don't
but
know.
They lost in the round of 16.
Yes.
Which is devastating. They had a great game. They played their best game against Sweden. It's just Sweden's goalkeeper was
on fire.
Phenomenal.
Yeah, she did a great job.
Phenomenal. Great job. Shout out to Sweden. Really rooting for you now because
100%.
you have to win now. You have to.
Yes, I think they will, especially if she keeps playing like that. That was always the weakness of the women's team, the U.S. team. Like they couldn't score, and now you can't score. Plus the goalie's playing phenomenal. Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah, there were multiple opportunities. They had multiple opportunities to put one in the back of the net. Nobody was following up. Mm-hmm. Really devastating loss. They should have won.
Didn't they lose? Wasn't it like a millimeter over the line?
Yeah, it was literally a millimeter on the final PK.
That's tough.
When the U.S. had the lead in PKs, and then they blew it. They missed 2. And it's not that they got blocked; they missed them.
Yep.
Which makes it worse.
Yes. Trouble scoring.
That's it was the name of the team.
Trouble scoring, women's national team. Oh my God.
Oh, you gotta love it.
Oh,
all right, next week we'll be picking our playoff teams.
Oh, I like that. I love that.
We'll be going with the AFC East. And who knows? Our final thoughts have been great lately.
Yes, they have. Also,
you never know.
I wanna add in. We are going to be doing fantasy football for any viewers out there or listeners. We will be doing that. We'll be starting that up kind of like March Madness. We'll have a group that people can join. We might have a prize for whoever wins. So that'll be coming soon as well.
Love that. I love fantasy football season 2.
Here we go.
Here we go. Best time of the year.
Oh my God.
All right, guys. See you next week.
See ya.